Welcome back to Introduction to Engineering Design. Today we're going to talk a little bit about modeling basics in additive and deductive modeling specifically. In this exercise, I've broken the assignment up into essentially 5 different submissions. 4.1g, the basic submission, will be done after you do all of your modeling. It's just answering a few questions. But 4.1g is broken up into Question 1a, which is shown on your screen, Question 1b, Question 2, 3, and 4. So let's get started first on Question 1a. So we scroll back up here and we take a look at this. What we've got is we've got a piece that we're being asked to model using nothing but additive procedures. So as I look at this, I can pretty quickly identify that there's 2 basic shapes to this. And the first basic shape is a C shape that's on the bottom. The second basic shape would be this, I don't know what you'd call it, another C on the other side. So let's model it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to model the bottom H shape here. And I can see that it's about 3.5 inches tall and about 1.5. It looks like it is 2 inches wide. And it's got an H notch out of the middle of it. So let's get started. I'll drag this off to the side, and I'll start with File, New, and we'll go ahead and select Part. Now the first thing to pay attention to on every one of these exercises is right here, and this is done on purpose because when you come to your certification test, you're going to want to be sure you're in the right units. So where my cursor's flashing, the dimensions for this are in inches. So I'll go ahead and start to model this in inches, and I'll start with a new sketch, and I'm going to choose my top plane just so I can look down at the part and make it look kind of like it does on the diagram. So to make this part, I'm going to do a rough sketch just like you did on your prior assignments of the outline of the part, and you'll notice that I'm getting glyphs as I come through and drop my lines. And I'm not being too particular about the exact layout, but I am looking to try and pick up some associations, vertical and horizontal. It turns blue as the model becomes closed. Get out of my line tool by hitting the check mark or hitting escape. And I chose or the red X. So now as I zoom in, you can see that it's a little bit kittywampus. So what we're looking at here in this top view is I'm looking at this outline shape. So let's make the overall height 3.5. So best practice says that we want to dimension the first largest dimension initially. And what that does is keeps your model from getting out of proportion and essentially blowing up. So now 3.5, the next dimension I'm going to do is my 2-inch width, which is 0.5. Actually, it's 2.5. 0.5 plus 1.5 plus 0.5. So I'll dimension the overall width of the shape at 2 inches. And now you'll see that blew up a little bit on me. So let me undo that. I'm going to go Control Z and back that up a little bit. I'll start and dimension the bottom of it, which is 1 inch along this bottom line right here. I'll go 1 inch there, 1 inch here, and then up at the top I will now make this 2.5. You see it's starting to become more and more defined. As you learned earlier, if it's underdefined, it's going to be blue, and I can grab it and wiggle any one of the blue dots, and we'll wiggle around, and it'll show me what's underdefined. You can see I don't have a dimension for the height of that particular object. So let's go in and put that dimension in. Looks like that would be about 1.5. So I'm going to dimension between 2 lines, and as you recall, I choose my first line, and as long as they're parallel, it'll give me the distance between the 2 lines. Click it off to the side and drop it. Notice that I'm clicking and dropping. I'm rarely dragging anything. So now you'll see that I've got a fully defined sketch. As you look down here in the lower right hand corner, everything is black in it. And let's go ahead and exit this sketch. Now when I exit that sketch, my next question is how tall do I need to extrude it? And I'm just going to extrude the bottom here. So I'm going to extrude that to 1 inch deep. So I go to my Features tab, Extruded Boss Base, It asks me, what do I want to extrude? I can click on the edge of the closed body. I can come over here and click on the sketch itself. I'll do that. And I'm going to extrude it up 1 inch. I'm not going to worry about which direction or whether I should go blind or not. I'll just go blind 1 inch up. And now I have my basic shape for the bottom of this. And it looks pretty good. Let's go ahead now and look at what we have to add to this now, because we're doing it all additive. And what I have to do is I have to add this top piece on. Now, if I wanted to do it in 2 steps, I could extrude up this rectangle, and then I could extrude up the 2 rectangles on each end. But I'm going to do it in a single step. So what I'm going to do is grab my model. I'm going to roll back around to this side right here. Now, another way I can do this is I can hit the space bar, and now I can roll my model around in different directions. And now I'm looking at the back of my model. So you'll see the back of my model right there. And that's the plane that I want to sketch on. So let's go ahead and start a new sketch. But instead of choosing sketch, I'm going to choose the extruded boss base command, and then I'm going to say sketch on the plane that's defined by this surface. So now I'm looking normal down at that surface, and I need to sketch this C shape right here. And the C shape is 2 inches tall, 2.5 inches tall, minus the 1 inch that already exists. So let's start by laying out my basic shape here. And my basic shape starts at the bottom, and I pick up that corner, comes over and forms kind of like a castle top here. Down, over horizontally, up, and I want to come down and pick up this line here. So I want to be down and over, and it turns blue. I'll go ahead and hit my escape key, get out of my line command, and now I have to give it some dimensions. So to look back at my drawing, I can see that this is 2.5 inches tall total from the bottom to the top. So I can go ahead and use that dimension. I'm going to apply that dimension in here. I'm going to say both sides are 2.5. And for now, I'm just going to type it in twice. So I click on my top and my bottom. There are some other things I can do with collinearity and other commands to make that a little easier, which we'll learn later on. But for now, we're just going to dimension those 2 sides. Now I need to know how wide this is. Looks like it's 1.5 inches wide. And I also need to know the overall size of these 2 edges. It looks like they're 0.5 and 0.5. Oh, I don't actually need to put that in there. Now, why is that? Because I've told it that I am as wide as the bottom, and the first edge is 0.5. The second gap here is 1.5, so it mathematically derives the third length there. So let's go back and take a look here at how deep the cut is, and it looks like it's 0.5 from the top surface to the notch. I now have a fully defined sketch. So I'll exit my sketch. Now, because I entered the sketch with an extrusion command, it knows that I want to extrude it. That doesn't look right, does it? Needs to go the other way. So the way we can change directions, come right over here, click on the arrow. You can flip that back and forth and look at it. You'll also notice that I rolled my sketch to the side so I could look at it in 3 dimensions. Held my mouse wheel down and moved it. So that's going to extrude out 1 inch. Let's double check that. And it looks correct. You can see right where my cursor is flashing, that 1 inch. So that looks correct. I'll accept that. And you'll notice that it joined the 2 bodies, and I now have my part. Go ahead and save this. And this is part, this is 4.1G. And there I have it saved. That's it. Thanks for watching.